us. So again, welcome back, you guys. It's great to hear that you were able to get a little bit done, and hopefully you're still like trying to multitask. As promised, it is time for our first giveaway. And we had a, let's see, ooh, giveaway time. We have a $200 Deo gift card. Now, this gift card was really just a moment to pause and to give a hardworking, special woman a gift from the line that I created with the help of WeOp. Many of you know the story, a few may not know the story, but I was a marketing executive at the Coca Cola Company and began to dream about how I wanted to contribute and help women. And so I think that gene was kind of passed down from my mother and my aunt. The need and the desire to help women, but I just took it to a product where it was all about letting women see themselves, feel beautiful when they get home so that they could lounge in love. So it's all about this luxury loungewear. So I am super excited. A loungewear line that's created in Italy that we produce in New York. Like, I'm super excited to give this to a woman. And it's based on one simple thing, to talk about the fact that you're learning and working on yourself, and to tag We Op Women. So we had two women who actually took on the challenge and did it. And I wanted to announce them as winners, but I think I'm being unfair because it was two. I want to like split it up, Antoinette, and give both of them 100 to buy something out of Deo. You're on mute, but you're talking. Is that fair to do?
Yes, that's fair. That's great. That's perfect.
That's perfect. Okay. So the first person, which I mean, I feel like I'm a fan. Okay, here we go. John Dylan, I see you. Because yes. The first winner is, I think I said her name correctly before, and it's not on your Instagram, but it is, hold on, Takesha. You have won Deo gift card, $100 to do something special. I hope you're back on this call. And John Deline, you already just sent like a question about what do I carry, but I'll talk to you about that. You are also the other winner, which I'm super excited about. You guys, I am working on expanding the product line to like include all shapes. But in addition to that, this company is really based on a self-love movement. So we have a self-love diary that is also a part of the line. And we have some special items that are not posted, but as a winner, you will have exposure and we can figure out what's the best thing for you. So I'm super excited about that. You guys better give me a clap in the chat or something that you're a winner. Like, let me know you feel the love, because I created this line with a lot of heart and a lot of emotion and feeling. So I hope you enjoy this gift that's coming to you.
So we have the other gift cards after this
Yeah,
session.
that comes later. That comes later. Yeah.
Okay.
You wrote the agenda. You should know this. Like, I think you're just so excited to give some more goodies to like people. So, but we have more coming, you guys. So we're about to move into our fourth session. I can't believe we're already at number 4. It's been such a full day. This is all about financial endurance. And one of the facts that I pulled is that 82% of businesses fail because of one reason. It's due to poor cash flow management. And in some cases, it's not about the management of it. It really is just about the understanding of cash flow and our business. And what's important is that okay, here we go. Thank you, Takesha. I see you. But there are other factors that do contribute to failing businesses, like inadequate management teams or faulty infrastructure or business models, and even unsuccessful marketing initiatives. The reality is those other aspects require funding, they require capital in order to do them well. And so I am super excited to introduce not only a fabulous woman who says she speaks softly, but her presence is definitely felt as one representing our leading sponsor, which is Fifth Third Bank. They are instrumental in not only providing access to capital for entrepreneurs like us, they are also supporters of WeOp. So Lindsey Puckett is joining us from Fifth Third Bank. She's an AVP over business banking. She has 17 years of experience in the industry. She is committed to supporting women in business, which is why I think it's just a whole lot of energy and vibe here. And on top of that, she's a WeOp supporter. At least we're making her an official WeOp supporter being on this call today. So, Lindsey, welcome, and would love for you to share some insights around financial management and how we as women don't become a statistic around the failing business because we don't understand financial endurance and management.
Thank you so much, Yolanda. I am so pleased to go after such an empowering giveaway. Those gift cards you gave away were wonderful. So I'm glad to follow in those footsteps. I love seeing that kind of stuff. So as you mentioned a little bit about me, I've been in banking for 17 years. I actually started out as a teller 17 years ago. And now I'm on the business banking team, which is actually a very male dominated role within the bank. Not to say that women don't do it, but we are definitely fewer and more far between than our male counterparts. So we like to give them a run for their money as often as possible. Not to mention, I think it's important to state that a lot of my counterparts got into this role because they have a degree in finance or a master's degree in communications or business or something along those lines. I climbed the ladder in a more organic path. And so I went about it a different way. I went about it as a strong woman who set my eye on a goal and made sure I achieved it. So, I really think it's important to state, and the theme for this talk to be around the fact that there is no substitute for time, experience, or confidence, especially as women. We can go out, we can achieve anything we want, and really nobody can stand in our way. But I think we lose sight of the fact that oftentimes we're the ones who stand in our way more than anybody else. So keeping a clear mind and just kind of laying out our path is so important. I'm proud to be part of Fifth Third. Fifth Third does some really great things within the community. They're very supportive of having a diverse, not only employee from an employee perspective, but also supporting different organizations, especially women in business in the community. Some of the things that we've done this year alone is we worked with an organization to help increase minority women participation in medicine and biomedicine. I think that's incredible, seeing women in the healthcare field. So proud to support that. We, back in September, offered a State of Black Women-Owned Business address to discuss COVID-19 impacts on those specific business structures. We had 1,600 registered participants. I think that's a pretty big accomplishment for us to provide that within the community. We've also, in Georgia alone, this year, have invested millions of dollars in some philanthropic investments as well as small businesses. And that's beyond just lending money, right? So we do a lot to support those minority-owned businesses throughout the community. So proud to be a part of that. I think that's such an important social role for the bank to take. So I'm glad to see that we are able to participate in that way. We are a big supporter of WeOp. We love what WeOp stands for. And so I think today, really, I want to talk about how to align a budget for growth strategy. I think given what we've all felt this year with COVID-19 impacts, I think it's important to talk about staying on track, how to do that, how to not lose sight of what your goal is. Just really kind of, I guess, regather. This is a good time to do it. We're nearing the end of the year. We're nearing things like election, things that we, kind of think will push us into what 2021 is going to look like, pulling together our New Year's resolutions that are always fun, right? We like to think about how we can be more purposeful in the coming year, both personally and from a business perspective. And a lot of times those do go hand in hand. I think the one thing that I can say is that really the best way to stay mindful of your goals is to make sure you've got a solid business plan. That business plan will not only keep business owners on track. Sometimes it's easy to get caught up in our day-to-day responsibilities, and we lose sight of, did we accomplish? Have we lost track of time? Did we do in 1 month what we wanted to do in 1 month, or in a quarter, or in 6 months or a year? It also helps kind of lay out some forethought for scenarios to happen like COVID-19, or even just from a smaller perspective. If you are providing some sort of a item, Deo is a good example. If Deo, if they've got a supplier in New York that is creating items, what happens if that supplier, can no longer provide? And having that backup plan, those are always good things to be mindful of. You've got to be prepared for the worst. I think us women are always trying to tackle everything. We always believe that we're prepared for the worst. I think we play over those scenarios in our minds all the time, but putting it on paper has a different effect. So I think making sure that you've got that business plan up to date. If you haven't created one, it's not too late to do one. And then just constantly referring back to that is extremely important. It helps you make decisions for sure. Understanding also strengths and weaknesses. Business owners, one thing that I found, I work with small to mid-size businesses, and the one thing I can say rings true for every single one of them is that they've started a business because they're really good and really passionate about something. Now, the funny thing about business is that while it takes creativity and passion and being good at something to start a business, it takes a lot of other skill sets to make that business run and make it successful. And as women, we're so hard on ourselves about making sure that we achieve everything. I know I'm very bad about asking for help. But I think really laying out and understanding what your strengths and weaknesses are, because the fact of the matter is that not one single person in business can go at it alone. So really staying mindful of the advisors that your business could really benefit from. And that could be somebody like a CPA. In fact, a CPA really is an advisor that every business needs if they have growth on the brain. As well as a business banker, somebody similar to what I do. Depending on what type of business you have, an attorney may be very, very important advisor for your business. It could be somebody in marketing. It could be somebody in manufacturing. So I think identifying those key roles are also an important part of achieving growth. You have to understand how to get where you want to be. If it's something like borrowing funds, accessing capital, then obviously you need somebody in finance. You need somebody in a business banking capacity with a finance company, with a bank. Next to that, it also plays hand in hand with a CPA. It's very important that your CPA understands what your goals are. As they're filing your taxes, there are strategic ways that they can help you achieve your goals. A lot of business owners think, oh, I want to take as many write-offs as I can. I don't want all of my profit to go to taxes. And that's a fair statement. But when it comes down to maybe you want to buy a building, maybe you want to access a line of credit to increase your cash flow. Maybe you want to buy equipment. We have to be able to show that the business is profitable, meaning that every every piece that you bring in, every penny that you bring in isn't accounted for somewhere else. So we have to be able to show that there are funds left over to take on whatever financing you need in order to achieve your goals. So making sure that your CPA is mindful of your 1-year plan, your 3-year plan, your 5-year plan, your 10-year plan is going to be an important part of achieving those goals. And so working hand in hand with your CPA and business banker are going to be the number one things you can do from a growth perspective in terms of accessing capital. Also, there's I guess maybe a piece of advice that I was given years ago when I was trying to figure out how to grow into the path that I wanted. Somebody told me that it was important to always have a mentor and always be a mentor. And so what that means is identifying somebody who is where you want to be, who's good at all the things that you want to be great at, who can help guide you, who's maybe come across the same challenges that you have. Talk to them, ask them, how did you achieve what you've achieved? What challenges did you face? Get some forethought into what may be ahead of you as you venture into your growth. And then also being a mentor. I think that's really important. We sell ourselves short a lot. There are people out there that you can help. You may feel like I'm not the best at everything, who would want me to mentor them? But you'd be surprised. There's plenty of women out there, even men, who want to do what you're doing and don't have the knowledge. Maybe it's something like, I don't know, maybe you're really good at baking. Maybe it is from a business perspective. Maybe it's within your church. It could be anything. But the fact of the matter is that being a mentor to somebody else pushes us to be better. It pushes us to self-reflect. It pushes us to take the advice that we give. And it really helps hold us accountable. So I think that is a very important piece of growth strategy. And it's funny because I work in finance. That is where my expertise is. But all of these pieces play into that. There are actually, and I won't dig into all of them, but there are kind of a rule of thumb that we go by in the finance world, and underwriters especially always look at these 5 pieces when they're looking at a finance request. And we call them the 5 C's of credit. So jot this down as a little note. I would love for you to offline go back and just kind of dig into these if, accessing capital at some point is on your to-do list with your growth plans. But those 5 C's of credit, the first one is character. What kind of character does the borrower have? Are they a good person in the community? If I Google their business, are there a lot of bad reviews? A lot of things play into that. So again, dig into that. Character is a very, very important one. Next is collateral. If we lend money, where's that money going? How can we collect on that money if for some reason the borrower cannot repay? It's no different from having an appraisal done when you buy a house. So, if you go to buy a house and you spend $300,000 and the house doesn't appraise for that, the mortgage company is not going to lend that money. It's the same difference on the business side. We have to make sure there's collateral there. And that could be equipment, that could be receivables, that could be a building, it could be a number of things. It could be cash sitting in a bank, but there has to be collateral. The next one is capacity. What capacity does the business have to repay those funds? Is it cash flowing? And we go back to what I mentioned about being upfront with your CPA about your plans. They're going to be the ones that really guide that cash flow and what that looks like, that picture to plan for you to access capital in the future. So capacity to repay, again, great one to involve your CPA in and use them as an advisor on that. condition. Now that goes for the business and the industry. I will say in my portfolio of various businesses, I have several that have been hurt very badly through COVID. Restaurants, I have a couple of breweries, they have been heavily impacted. But I've got other clients who are booming through COVID-19. I've got a client who sells or produces a component in rubber. They were able to shift gears and start producing hand sanitizer. They were able to get extremely good pricing on their materials from China through all of this. So there are businesses that are booming. So when we go tell that story, and even outside of COVID-19, we've got to tell a story on behalf of business owners. And so we've got to make sure that that aligns. What industry impacts are there, if any? Is the industry booming? What does the future look like? What does the past look like? And then capital, what kind of cash is available? So those are really important. And then lastly, there are multiple ways to access capital. There is something called factoring, which again is something important to look into. I think we don't have enough time to dig into it today, but and that's lending that's based off of receivables. Maybe a business that is in process of growing, it could be a great use. There's also SBA lending, which is a government guaranteed form of lending. And there's some various rules around that, but that's a great resource, and that is accessed through a bank. And then there's also conventional lending for businesses that have been around 2-3+ years. And that's a more traditional version of financing. And what I would say lastly, important to remember, the difference between SBA lending and conventional is similar to the difference between FHA and conventional on the mortgage side. So that's a good comparison, and that would be something good to talk about with a business banker. So I know we're running tight on time. I'd love to open it up for questions if we can.
Lindsey, great job. I mean, you guys type in any questions that you may have. I think one of the things, as people are trying to build their knowledge around around factoring and the different ways to access capital, whether it is a SBA loan versus, is there a simple place you would actually direct them to? I mean, versus just being reliant on the banker to explain it to, where should they go? Where should they go seek information?
Great question. So I would recommend reaching out to a business banker, building that relationship. It's going to be their job to really represent your story well. So the sooner you can do that, the better. You can also hop on SBA.gov and dig into some of the SBA stuff. It's a lot to take in. Don't feel like you have to work through it alone, but it's a great starting point. Every bank on a conventional side is going to be a little bit different. And then factoring, there's a lot of companies out there that do that. That's something I wouldn't necessarily recommend everybody get into, but it could be a good starting point for some.
Okay, that's great. I mean, I think you've given us a lot of key nuggets. And I mean, I'm looking at Gretchen saying great points and Tanja saying excellent points with an S. So they're both definitely like finding that the content you shared as being very helpful. A couple of things that you shared: stay on your path. That's even from your own personal journey. Time, experience, and competence really shows itself over time. I can't stress, and you already did, the importance of a business plan, but I'll tell you today, there is the movement of people just not really taking the business plan quite as serious. So even if the document, you guys, is a 5-page document, I think Lindsey's point of putting it on paper and making sure that you know the distinction between a 1-year and a 3-year plan and what that looks like, I think really begins to lay out a growth strategy that's important. I mean, you went so deep. I was like, strengths and weaknesses. That can be from a personal leadership perspective to tie back into what Pam and Glenda spoke about, but even strengths and weaknesses on your business. So where is the business model really strong? Where are there opportunities? What are things you would build upon? And then the one that started showing up in the comments over and over again: CPA, we need; business banker, we need; lawyer got added to the list. But you guys, these are experts that require dollars. There we go. So they are definitely like people that you need on your business, but you have to think about what are the right ways to fund those components of your business as well. And I love the point that you just put in here, Gretchen. You guys can read some of the comments, but if you don't know how to maintain your financials, honestly, just call Gretchen, but I'll read what she's saying here. Don't be embarrassed to seek help. Some CPAs will help with bookkeeping, some don't help with bookkeeping. Gretchen can help you with bookkeeping. And so that's something really important to kind of understand the difference. And then Kim is saying excellent points to you as well, Lindsey. And so I love you breaking down the C's. I thought that was excellent. So you guys, I think you understand there's so many components to financial endurance. It's not just about how much money you have sitting in your bank account, but the way you manage it, the way you record it, the way you set goals for your business, and the way you track it is really just as important as a part of the process. So, you know, Lindsey, if you were to give us like a closing thought on this, you know, we all get nervous about the money part. I tell you, as women, it's like we get nervous asking for the sale, closing the deal, and even like asking for help from a financial perspective. But if you were to give us some advice, what would you tell us?
I would say to remember that millionaires came from the Great Depression. And ladies, we all know that was a group of men because they weren't letting us do anything back then. So be mindful of that. And having that business plan will guide you through times like this. It'll guide you through the highs, the lows. Hold yourself accountable to it and use it. Keep it close to your chest.
I love that. You guys, one thing, we all are here because of sponsors like Fifth Third Bank. And the reason why WeOp is able to operate and do what they do is because of sponsors like you. So I wanted to take a moment to run a small video about WeOp to really close out this session for us. So if you could run the video, Ashley, that would be great.
And thank you, Lindsey.
We are in the midst of a global pandemic, and it is going to change the way we do and think about business. We all have to get accustomed to the new norm, social distancing. WEOP Women is the place for you. A special online membership community of like-minded businesswomen. We make it easy for you to connect, interact, and learn. Here are all the things you can do. Set up a profile, create a group, join a discussion, blog, and chat with other entrepreneurs and women in business. This platform was created with you in mind. We promise to keep you informed with cutting-edge news, updates, webinars, monthly newsletters, and special bonuses for our members. What are you waiting for? Click and join the experience at weopwomen.com. Want to reach out? Send us an email at hello@weopwomen.com.
So again, Lindsey, thank you so much for those very important nuggets to help us with our business. We are about to jump on the next call, but please, you guys, post, tag WeOp Women so we can give some of these amazing gifts. Fifth Third Bank actually donated some of the gift cards that we'll give right before the closing. So we'll see you for the next call.